There are people on the moon. How did the ancients arrive at that idea, one small step at a time? The visitor from the moon, recorded in the Youyanzazu, appeared in the main story. This was in the Da-He years of Emperor Benzong of the Tang dynasty. Two men lost their way on Mount Zong. At the end of the mountain path, they came upon a man in white, fast asleep, his head resting on a bundle. When he woke, he told them something remarkable.
Do you know what the moon is made of? 7 treasures, fused together? Its shape is a ball. The light and dark you see are sunlight striking the parts that bulge out. 82,000 households tend it, all year round. And I am one of them.
A picture that complete, the moon is manufactured. It wears down. It needs maintenance. It has a staff roster. Something like that does not appear out of thin air. It is more like sedimentary rock, layer pressed upon layer. Today, we cut it open. Dig down through the layers all the way to the bottom, and you find this. The idea begins as a question. 2,300 years ago, the poet Qu Yuan wrote the 10 men hurling more than 170 questions at heaven. When he came to the moon, this is what he asked.
By what virtue does the night light die, and then be reborn? And what does it gain to keep it Qu Yuan in its belly?
At what right does the moon die and live again? And in its belly, what creature is being kept? 2 words, Qu Tu. Scholars have argued over them for 2,000 years. Some say a hare, because a running hare keeps looking back. And the scholar Wen Yiduo argued for a toad. Others say the word came from Chu, a southern dialect. No verdict to this day. The identity of the tenant was never settled, but by the warring states, one thing was certain. Something lives inside the moon, something alive. The moon dies and lives again. They understood waxing and waning as an endless cycle of death and rebirth. This layer is the foundation. The second layer lay buried for 2,000 years and came out of the ground only in 1993. At Wangjiatai in Jiangling, Hubei, a tomb yielded a cache of bamboo slips. It was sealed under the qin, and the slips held an ancient book of divination, the Guicang. The oracle text under the hexagram Guimei, pieced together from broken slips and later quotations, tells a story. Long ago, Henge stole the drug of deathlessness from the Queen Mother of the West, divined a lucky sign, and fled to the moon. That older name later became Chang'e. The reason lies in a naming rule at the court of Han. An emperor bore the very same character in his own given name, so the word had to change. The slips were buried in the Qin dynasty. The story itself can only be older. What did this layer add? The moon stopped being a den for one beast and became a destination someone would run to. For the first time, it was the far shore. In 139 BC, Liu An, king of Huainan, presented a great book to Emperor Wu of Han, the Huainanzi. In it, the lunar legends were nailed into the official canon. One line sits in the Jingzhen Xun chapter. In the sun there is a twin wukro. In the moon there is a toad. A 3-legged divine bird in the sun, a toad in the moon. One creature each, sun and moon. The order of the cosmos, neat and complete. Another line sits in the Lamingshun chapter. Ebig the drug of deathlessness from the Queen Mother of the West, and Hongma stole it and fled to the moon. The tale from the Qin slips was now fixed in writing. Even the hollow ache left in E after losing the drug made it into the text. But the Huainanzi holds a finer line still. In the moon there grows a cassia tree. But search the Huainanzi we have today, and those words are gone. Much of the original was lost. The line survives because the Song Encyclopedia quoted it and kept it for us. That book is a Taiping Yulan. A sentence outlived the book that held it, brought back by the hand of a later scribe. And so, without a sound, the cassia tree was planted in the moon. The baton passed to a man you would not expect, Chang'e. Yes, the one who built the armillary sphere and the seismoscope. He wrote a work of astronomy called the Lingxian, and the original is lost. Only quotations in the Hohanshu commentary survive. What makes the book remarkable is this: hard astronomy in one hand, ancient myth in the other, and neither one shortchanged. For the astronomy, he wrote this: the moon gives off no light of its own. Moonlight is born where the sun shines. A lunar eclipse is no hound devouring the moon. The moon turns to the far side of the sun, and the shadow of the earth blocks it. He gave that shadow a name, Anshu, the dark void. This was nearly 2,000 years ago. For the myth, he wrote this: the moon is the essence of yin. It gathers into a beast, and the shape of that beast is a hare. The hare had moved in. He told her story more fully than anyone. Before the flight to the moon, she went to a diviner named Qu Yuan and had a hexagram cast. The diviner spoke.
Auspicious. The sister flutters away, journeying west alone. She will meet darkness in the sky. Let her not be startled. Let her not be afraid. Great flourishing lies ahead.
Go without fear. The road ahead is blessed. And so Hengge gave her body to the moon. And then comes the ending that later ages refused to accept. She became the toad. Chang'e reached the moon and turned into a toad. The man who wrote that line down understood the moon better than anyone alive. Better still, the oracle text in the Lingxian runs almost directly from the Guizhan written on the Qin slips. From bamboo in a Qintum to the observatory of the Eastern Hun, the chain lines up link for link. Around the same time, a Hambalad sang a line. The white hare kneels upright, pounding out toad pills. The hare had clocked in, and the pills, of all names, carried the brand of the toad. By the Western Jin, the poet Fu Xuan asked and answered it himself. What is in the moon? A white hare pounding the drug. Count the roster on the moon by now. One toad, one white hare at the mortar, one transformed Chang'e, and one cassia tree. It was getting crowded. And now the Tang dynasty, the Youyang Zazu, written by Duan Chengshi, put a roof on this lunar palace. First it added a man. The old books say the moon holds a cassia and a toad. A stranger book says the lunar cassia stands 500 jang tall. Beneath the tree stands a man who cuts at it all year long, and the wound closes as it opens. Every axe cut heals the moment it lands. This man is named Wu Gang, and he erred while studying immortality. This felling is his punishment. Note the wording chosen by Duan Chengshi. The old sayings, a stranger book says, he states plainly that he is copying down old hearsay, and the name Wu Gang appears in no text before the Tang dynasty. But with that one stroke, the moon had labor for the first time, a project that can never be finished. And then comes that night on Mount Song where we began. The man in white finished speaking and opened the bundle. Inside lay several axes and chisels, and 2 packets of jade dust rice. And now the picture is complete. The moon is made, and it is a sphere. It wears down. It needs maintenance, and the ones who maintain it have registered households and staff rosters, tools, and rations. Now stack the layers together and look. Warring states, a beast in the moon, hare or toad, nobody could say. Qin, someone steals the drug and flees there, and the moon becomes the far shore. Then, in the western hand, the toad takes its post. The cassia is quietly planted. Eastern ham, the hare moves in. Chang'e turns into a toad, while an astronomer calculates eclipses with one hand and records myth with the other. And then came the Tang dynasty, and there, Wugong swings his axe, with 82,000 households. All of them report for duty. Every generation built one more story on the wall left by the last. Nobody tore it down to start over, and the direction never changed. The tenet goes from beast to human. The moon goes from oddity to dwelling to worksite. At first they said there is something in the moon. Then they said the moon can be reached. Then they said there are people on the moon. And at last they said people are working up there and the moon needs maintenance. By the end of this line, you should recognize it. It is the very idea from the main story. The moon as a body you can land on, build on, and must keep running. One last thing. This lineage of imagination grew side by side with the understanding of the sky. In the same years that Deng Heng worked out that the moon gives no light and that an eclipse is the shadow of the earth, he also set down, word for word, the tale of a woman turning into a toad. A lunar workman described by Duancheng says it in passing. The moon is shaped like a ball, and the sun blazes on the parts that bulge. He is describing a sphere lit and shadowed by sunlight falling on uneven ground. That sentence came 800 years before Galileo turned a telescope toward the moon. In the summer of 1969, a human boot pressed into the lunar soil. Later still, China launched a lunar exploration program and chose a name for it, Chang'e. A rover set down on the surface, and its name was Yu Tu, the jade hare. The woman who stole the drug on bamboo slips 2,000 years ago, and the white hair-pounding medicine in a hand ballad. Both of them, in the end, really did reach the moon. So, back to the question we started with. There are people on the moon. Where did that idea come from? It was invented by nobody. It is the yield of a relay 2,000 years long. One generation asked what lies in the belly. One generation sent a human up. One generation planted the cassia. One generation posted 82,000 households there. The ancients had no telescope and no rocket. All they held was imagination. And imagination is itself a form of exploration. The exploration of the moon by the Chinese began 2,300 years ago.